Today we're solving triangles in the form, or if they give us a side, an angle, and a side. So the angle has to be between the two sides, or if they just give us three sides and no angle. And so you would use one of the three formulas to help you solve for a missing side. You can use a squared if you need little a, and they give you angle a. So you would just do b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cosine of angle A. And then, of course, to solve for A, you have to square root this whole expression. If they give you angle B, then you would solve for little b. And you would use the other two sides, like this. And then do the same thing, square root that answer to get little b. Or if they give you angle C, then you use the last formula. And then you use cosine of that. And to find little c, you would just square root that whole answer. Okay, so that's how you find the missing sides. Let's start off with a side angle side triangle. So let's say they gave us this triangle, and they said that angle A was 60 degrees. We don't know little a. We have little b was 20. We don't know big C, but we know little c is 30. So given this information, looking at what they give us, I'm going to use the formula that had a squared. And you just set everything up. And it doesn't matter which one you do first, really. So we have 20 squared plus 30 squared minus 2 times those two sides times cosine of the angle. Let me move this over. Times cosine of 60 degrees. And you're going to work that problem out. And when you do, if you type all of that in correctly, actually you could type that whole thing in your calculator. Make sure you put parentheses everywhere I have parentheses. And you should get 700. Make sure you're practicing that you get 700. Pause it so you can get it. And then square root both sides. And just like we did on the other problems, you're going to round to the 10th. So that means little a would be 26.5. Let me draw my triangle back so you can see what we have so far. So we had this was 60. We just found little a. We have little b is 20. Little c is 30. This is angle B and angle C. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back and use the law of sine to help us find. We'll put law of sine to help us find the next angle. I'm going to go ahead and do angle B. So I have sine of 60 over 26.5 is equal to sine of B over 20. So I'm going to do like the previous lesson. and cross multiply. And then if you do it correctly, remember you want to try to I'll write it out so you can see how it looks. Divide both sides. And you'll get something like 0.6536. Then remember you do second sine to find angle B. Which means angle B would be 41 degrees. And now, to get angle C, you would just add 60 plus 41, and that'll give you 101, and you subtract that from 180, and you'll get angle C is 69 degrees. And we have solved that triangle. For the second example, let's solve a triangle that they only give us the 3 sides. So we're going to have to find all 3 angles. So I'm just going to pick a side to start with. I'll use B. Doesn't matter which one you use. So I'm going to do B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2 times those 2 sides times cosine of angle B. Alright, so I'm going to work this out. This is 81 equals, that's 36 plus 16, and that would give us 52 minus, and that is 24 times 2, 48 times cosine B. Alright, to solve for B, I have to subtract 52 from both sides. And then I'll get negative 29 equals negative 48 times cosine of B. Then I'm going to divide, excuse me, that's not negative 29. Both sides by negative 48. And I'm going to get cosine of B equals, and you're going to get this long decimal. And remember, I say you got to try to go 4 decimals. Alright, got to be careful now because when we do angle B, we got to do second cosine inverse. And because cosine inverse is negative, we're going to actually be in quadrant 2. So what that means is after you do second cosine, you're going to get 53 degrees. But 53 degrees is in quadrant 1. We need it to be in quadrant 2. So in order for it to be in quadrant 2, you have to do 180 minus 53, and that'll give us 127 degrees. Okay, so you got to be careful. You got to know your quadrants for the inverses. So angle B is 127. And then I'm going to bring out the law of sine to help us find the next angle. It doesn't matter which one you do next. I'm just going to use A. So I'm going to do sine 127 over 9 equals sine of A over 6. And we're going to cross multiply. And if you do it correctly, you're going to get sine of A equals 0.5324. And then you do second sine. And since it's positive, we're okay. As long as that angle's positive, we're in quadrant 1, you're fine. It's when it's negative where we have that issue. So that means that angle A is 32 degrees. Now, how do we find angle C? Well, you just add 127 plus 32. That gives us 159. Subtract that from 180. So angle C is 21 degrees. And now that triangle is solved. Now there is another option to help you find the missing angle for a side angle side or side side side. You can use one of these formulas. So if you need angle A, you can use this one. If you need angle B, and just make sure to find angle A, you do cosine inverse of your answer. And make sure this is in parentheses in the top. To find angle B, and same thing, to find the angle, you do the inverse of your answer. And then to find angle C, and to get the actual angle, you do cosine inverse of that answer. So that way you can either use law of cosine or law of sine to help you find your missing angle.